It is December 9th, and you are listening to the Slice Tennis Podcast, hosted by my guy, Stephen Boughton, and myself, JP Hovey. As always, we have come prepared with a great show. And this show format, it will be a little bit different. We're not going to be hitting as many topics, but we are going to hit a little deep dive into the best and worst performances of the season, the players' best and worst seasons, if we thought guys overperformed or if they underperformed. This is not a dig at anybody. We just see the potential of some of these guys, and these players probably would agree with our kind of rating of them. Yeah. And that will pretty much be the whole show. There's not that much going on. This show is presented by Betway. And before we get to the best bet of the day, we do have to hit on a little bit of the results from this past week, even though there are no results. Steven, before we even touch on it, are you a fan of these exhibition events that happen in New York and Charlotte?
Yeah, I am. I don't get excited for them. Like, the Laver Cup, people call it an exhibition. I get excited for that because there's like a real sense of competition. I think for a true tennis fan like me and you, like you kind of know that they're going on. I would never like tune in unless I had literally nothing to do. But if I was in New York or in Charlotte, I would probably go because, it'd be great to see. And I hear that you heard some stories from on the ground about the difference between Charlotte and maybe New York. Carlos Alcaraz, I believe, was at both with Ben Shelton at both, I think, on the men's side. So, yeah, I think the exhibitions are great for who are there and for the money they raise. So win-win-win.
No, and I only caught the highlights from each of them, but I did have a friend call me. A group of people went to this one in Charlotte, and one of my buddies called me, and he was like, bro, did you get to watch any of this Charlotte tennis exhibition? I was like, I caught the highlights of Tiafoe and Alcaraz kind of going back and forth, and I saw they brought out Steve Smith, Panthers legend, Andy Dalton, Panthers backup quarterback now again, and a whole bunch of other guys. I'm like, it looked like a blast. He said, man, I had like 6 friends go. Each of them called me after, dude, we just got back from the tennis thing. This was epic. Like they're like, I'm going to start watching Tiafoe Alcaraz. I have to pay attention next season. This was a blast. And I had no idea that it was this fun to go to a tennis match. And I did not hear any of that type of stuff from New York. Not saying it wasn't a bad event that they put on, but whatever was done in Charlotte needs to be recreated and redone again in some other places as well, because these are just very casual, like NFL only type fans. And they just live in Charlotte, needed something to do, popped out, and Alcaraz Tiafoe put on a show. So I thought that was cool to hear.
That's very cool to hear. We love seeing that. It's like a secondary, probably like benefit to the tennis community of these exhibitions. Like new people come out, they're like, oh, it's my town. It's in like a Charlotte. There's no big ATP tournaments there, so that's awesome. Like,
I know it could even create, if some of these cities do put out enough attendance, it's like you could get a tournament in Charlotte. A lot is going on in Charlotte, and there's a lot of rich people there that like tennis. So would not be surprised if down the road Charlotte gets a ATP 500 or 250 at least, because it's shocking it's in Winston-Salem and not Charlotte, to be honest. But
how far is Winston-Salem from Charlotte?
Man, maybe like 2.5 hours.
But is Winston-Salem like in North Carolina?
Yeah, but it is like small town. Like the only thing there is Wake Forest, really.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of what it is sometimes. It's just a venue. But yeah, like we got to get more tournaments, I think, in like premier city locations in a city. Like if you could have a tennis venue like downtown Chicago or like downtown any of these beautiful cities, downtown Nashville or Austin, like instead of being in these kind of obscure locations and obscure cities sometimes, I think then you would get more of these, oh, what's going on downtown, the tennis thing? Let's just go check it out. And I saw that in Europe a lot. It's like a lot of these people aren't even like huge tennis fans. They're like, that's just the thing happening in the city on that weekend or whatever. So people are just going to it.
Right.
And that's always the challenge, is finding a venue that's not some random like university on the outside of town that people don't really want to go to.
Yeah. And Nashville honestly would be an amazing place because people always look for excuses to come to Nashville. Yeah. And they want to visit. Titans games have more away fans than they do home games. And now we're getting international flights direct, and there's already like kind of an influx of people visiting from Ireland,
Oh
which
yeah.
is hilarious because I'm like, you guys are kind of just flying from Ireland, which is pretty much a drinking town, like flying from Dublin and flying to the American drinking town and going back.
Right.
But
That is funny.
nevertheless, it could be cool.
Well,
Nashville
maybe
would be a good
Tennis
one.
Sangren could help make that happen. You never know. Mobilize the Nashville people. I know there's a tournament, a challenger in Knoxville.
There is.
We're saying that.
So we got to get
Or a
it.
guy like, shout out to Matthew McConaughey. I mentioned Austin earlier. Like, I feel like a guy like that. He said he loves tennis. He talks about it all the time. He's playing with Nick Kyrgios.
Right.
Maybe he could help put on a sweet tennis event in the city of Austin in a premier location, maybe in his soccer stadium where they got that going on. I don't know.
You just
saying,
cooked.
putting
You just
ideas out
cooked heavy. And I'm going to need you to keep cooking because we do need to get into our best bet of the day, presented by Betway. Hit an ace with Betway and get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses, plus $50 bonus spins no matter the result. Scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the details section to create an account and redeem your welcome offer. Offer is only available for new customers only. Terms and conditions apply. Offer not available in Ontario, and you must be 18 and up. Please play responsibly. We're looking to the future. It's the off season. We're all about our futures. This future is for Wimbledon. What we got?
Yeah, it is. And it's a very interesting, like we did the Australian Open, we did the French Open already. And this Wimbledon one is crazy to me. So check this out, JP. The favorite based on Betway's odds currently now for Wimbledon 2025 is Carlos Alcaraz. I think that's fair enough. He won the last 2 years. But the odds they have him at is plus 120, which to me is crazy. That's like to win the entire tournament 6 months before it happens. Obviously, the odds can change, but I thought that was like super low and maybe one of the lowest I've ever seen of any player coming into a major. Like you would see Djokovic in the 100s for sure,
right?
When he was cooking and he was the number one. But they got Carlos Alcaraz at plus 120, Jannik Sinner at plus 220, Djokovic at plus 300, and then the next person is Jack Draper that they have, which is kind of crazy to me. Jack freaking Draper at plus 1,400.
What?
So there's no one between Djokovic at 300 and Jack Draper at plus 1,400.
What do the books know that we don't?
Something.
Because obviously
they got Jack Draper above Zverev and Medvedev.
The books know something, and obviously Betway is reliable. And so we might be getting in extremely early because come July or end of June, maybe Alcaraz is going to be all the way down to like a minus 250 favorite.
Yeah.
Which it's like, yeah, you would want to get in now because everybody knows he's going to win. But I don't know. It does. It seems the odds don't make sense right now, but I trust Betway, and I do believe they will give us our best options.
Yeah.
If it's me, I mean, maybe I will sprinkle something on Jack Draper right now. The hometown kid makes a run at Wimbledon, and we got on it in December. What's the harm in putting $1 or $5 down?
Not much. It's you bet $1, you make 15. I also liked, to be honest, I liked Lorenzo Musetti, who made the semifinals last year, and they got him way down the list at plus 2,500. So that's bet $1, make 26.
Wow.
But Jack Draper, it's true. Hometown, knows how to play on the grass, bangs his serve. They're looking for the next Andy Murray. The Brits are, obviously. Jack Draper's like a better looking version of Andy Murray, potentially. Just absolutely looks like, 007, just London class. Like, just, he's like got everything that you would look for in like a superstar from Britain.
And I think Andy Murray would agree with that.
I think he would agree with that, although I think it would hurt him to say that.
Yeah, he would never admit that to Jack's face, but in a room that Jack's not in, he's for sure telling people like, hey, man, this kid, this is a good-looking dude. I hope he doesn't win as many majors as me, but if he is, it's all good. It's for the Brits, even though, I mean, is Andy Murray really British, right?
Yes, true. He's he would say he's not. He's Scottish. But yeah, no, one of the all-time clips I think is of those two guys riding in the car together, and Jack Draper is singing like I would walk 10,000 miles, and he's
Ten,
Andy
tennis
Murray's
Hall
just
of
like,
Fame, tennis Hall of Fame clip right up there with the photo of drunk Federer eating the pizza after Laver Cup, or what I think it was Laver Cup.
yeah,
We need to compile the greatest tennis, like off court tennis clips.
yeah. Well, there's lots to go around for sure. But yeah, that's an interesting look at the Wimbledon 2025 odds. Maybe because it's so far away, they just haven't put much thought to it, and they're just like, let's put this out now and see what we got.
Right.
But yeah, I think Jack
Hey,
Draper. I mean, I honestly like Zverev and Medvedev at plus 1600. I mean, it's tough because really, what are the odds of one of Alcaraz, Sinner, and Djokovic not winning? It's
yeah,
getting pretty low. It's like a new big three. It's crazy.
I know. A new big three with the largest age gap of all time.
Yeah. Actually, it speaks to how amazing Djokovic is to be able to stay around and be relevant.
And he's bringing, and Andy Murray is the king of longevity almost with how he was able to keep his body up. So he could have some useful tips for Djokovic.
That's right. That's right. You never know. That's going to be really interesting to see in the new year. So I'm excited to see that.
Hey, before we get to our best and worst achievers of the season, what went down with you this week? I haven't spoken to you since the last podcast.
That's right. That's right. What went down with me this week? Not much. We were just chilling out. My son Shepard's just getting cuter every day. He's like almost 3 months old now, and he just seems so aware of things. Like I seriously felt like we were like almost like wrestling last night on our bed. Like he's like obviously so little still, and just
Yeah,
like
you were dominating him.
Yeah, I won't lie, I was destroying him. Like it felt good.
Shep.
And I'm one of those parents. I don't believe in like letting them win, until they actually win. I don't want to give them a false sense of security or make them feel good about themselves in any way, So I want them to have to earn everything. So yeah, it was a beatdown. No, but he's just like so cute. I feel like he like knows that you're there, and it's like again, he's not even 3 months, so I feel like there's still a little blob, but
He's smiling.
Oh yeah, he smiles and he like laughs now. It's like literally just melts your heart. He's like,
dang. So who got the first smile out of him? You or Nicole?
I don't know. I would definitely probably say Nicole. While I was at work, I'm sure he was smiling away at her. He's a big ladies man, so he's trying to smile on everyone. So he's yeah. Essentially, the week was just hanging out with Shepard and Nicole and loving life.
No crazy poop went down. No explosions.
No. Oh, with him?
Yeah.
There's a few, but those are.
I mean, maybe something went down with you. I don't know.
No, we had a Christmas party at work, and that was fun. Nothing crazy there, though. Nothing crazy there. Had a few cocktails, enjoyed that. And then, definitely poopy diapers. I take pride in my diaper changing skills. I've got the whole system set up in our room. We got the dirty clothes bin. We got the clean clothes in the drawer. We got the changing table. We got the dirty diaper bin. It's like a cockpit. I'm in there. I'm like, boom, 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 boom. Just taking care of it.
Have you, this is my last question on this topic.
Yeah.
Have you ever farted and then blamed it on Shep in the 3 months he's been alive? Because I know I'll be doing that whenever I have a kid.
I think as a joke, once, but it is pretty funny when he farts because it's loud and it's just like, really? Like, okay, we get you. You're here.
Dude, like that's impressive. Loud farts?
I know, loud farts. And it's been like that since he was born. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was like day one. He's like roasting it out there. So
what a beast.
Just a beast. Yeah, he's just a beast. So I think we got one on our hands. We're gonna be in for one for the next 18 years. He's gonna be powerful.
I would love when he gets of age. I would love to get into a little fart competition with him because, I think I hold the crown for my abilities. But
that's disturbing. But that's fair enough. You got something brewing down south. That's what I would say.
Brewing down south. It's the food we have down here. It makes it a lot easier than probably a lot of other places.
RFK is going to change that. So your farts aren't going to be as loud anymore. He's going to make you guys healthier.
Hey, he just needs to keep his hands off a few of my favorite snacks. Anything else is all good.
He's coming for it, JP. JP, you're killing people.
Bro,
you're killing people with these food.
It's gonna be nuts when they take over.
Yeah. But, JP, how was your week? What was your week? What was going on?
Man, this past week, it was kind of a slower week. I think on the work front. This weekend, we had a little Christmas party that we went to. but I was pretty tired. So, I was kind of trying to scheme my ways of getting out of it so I could come back to the house. Haven't watched a Christmas movie all December, and I still wasn't able to watch one this weekend. So I was pretty bummed out about that. But Christmas parties are always fun. We got one friend that he does the most at the parties. And like on Friday night, he was dressed as him and his girlfriend were dressed as elves in like hilarious elves costumes. And then the next day they show up more dressed up from some other party they came from. And the guy, John Garrett, he just immediately goes over to the dude that was playing piano. It's Nashville. A lot of our friends are musically talented. He's just ripping piano background music. And our friend John Garrett just goes and starts singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And he's the type of person that like everybody gets behind it when he's doing something. And so just got the vibes up, everybody singing Rudolph. It was a good time. Even though I was trying to go home, that kind of saved the night a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, overall, good weekend. I have a surprise birthday trip coming up this coming weekend. Sitting is doing it. She has booked us flights to a place I do not know the location. And we're going to be leaving Friday night. So I'm excited for that as well.
Wait, so how does that work? Do you like pack your bags, go to the airport, and you don't know where you're going?
Yeah. So, I mean, I asked her that same question. I was like, so do I need to pack my bag? She's like, I mean, you can. Like, I don't want you to get a hint as to what it might be. I was like, I mean, hopefully we're going somewhere warm. We're not going to like North Dakota or something. And she's like, I mean,
you're going to Ontario.
Right. Hey. And now I'm getting some Betway. But yeah, so she's like, I can pack your bag if you trust me. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I trust you. I wear the same 5 t-shirts every day of my life. So I think you know what I'm going to be wearing. But I'm excited for that.
That is sick. Wait, so like when do you find out where you're going? Like in the airport, or like does she like blindfold you, take you on the plane, and then you just land and you have to like figure out what city you're in?
That would be sick. I'll probably find out in the airport though.
I like take it so far. I'm like, does she drug you, put you under, tie you up, take you to your hotel, undo your bandana, never let you see, and then you come home and you still never know where you went? Like, is that what
you mean by mystery trip? It's always a mystery. All you know is that you went somewhere.
Yeah. You're like, all I know is we were at a hotel and there was a pool there. And then
she just shows me photos of me like just on the beach, pretty much tied up. Like, see, look, this. I'm like, oh my god.
You're like, thanks, babe. This is so fun.
Yeah, but no,
it's like actually just went down the street in Nashville.
Oh, dude, don't get me started on a staycation. I'll be sick if we do a staycation.
Are you not a fan of staycations?
No. I'll say this. If the staycation means we're staying at home and doing whatever, that's fine. But you must think I'm a fool if I'm about to pay some hotel in Nashville to stay at their place when I could just go 10 minutes to my own bed and save the $200. I can't be doing the staycations. I've been to the restaurants. I don't need these restaurants.
Yes, it's so funny. I know I know couples who do staycations, like, and they're like, I mean, some of them are like I know one couple, I was just talking to the guy, they do like they go slightly outside of their town, like maybe an hour to the mountains, and they'll do a vacation, and they call it a staycation. I guess that's not really.
Yeah, I'm down with that. I think that's fine.
But people who go like a 5-minute drive down the street, stay in a hotel.
And
is that because they're like lazy and they can't clean their house, and they're like, it's nice to have a clean house?
Yeah, it's just people. Dude, honestly, people will explain it to me. They give me their reasons, and I'm like, how, after saying this out loud, do you like truly believe anything you just said was a good idea? Like, what you just told me is you like to waste money at like 3 weekends a year on staying in the city.
That is so funny. Yeah, I mean, I don't want you to roast me for doing a staycation at my birthday, but that was kind of a one-off. It wasn't really a staycation. That was like a
themed party is different.
Honest, it was kind of like, hey, we get to stay in this new place for the night. But it's more like it was like a whole party thing.
Themed party, like your birthday party, that's a whole different scenario.
Okay, I got you. But yeah, I get that. I've never done a real staycation. I don't know if I ever would.
Yeah, I mean, watch. I'm probably gonna like become a staycation guy in like 2 years.
When you got the kids and you don't want to pack them all on a plane, you're like, all right, kids, we're going to the motel down the street.
We're going to the water park with the hotel next to it.
We're gonna say this was Mexico. We're in Mexico now.
Shay, come on, I might not leave. But shall we get into it?
We should get
Our
into it. Okay.
overachiever 2024 ATP achievers, overachievers and underachievers. We're starting out with our underachievers, correct?
Yeah, we're calling it the best and worst seasons of 2024.
There it is.
Basically, and we're benchmarking that or comparing that to like what they should be able to do. Or, you know, if it was an improvement, the players that we have in here are like they went from this level to this level. And then the players that we have on the worst seasons drop below the level that we think they should be at, for sure. And again, JP, as JP mentioned, we think they would agree. So this isn't trying to dunk on anyone. It could be taken that way, I guess. Like these guys are they did have bad 2024s, probably. Although if you look at their earnings for the year, you know, crocodile tears, in my opinion. But
right.
we will get into it. So JP, I don't know. We don't really have an order for them. I think the three of each are. Actually, maybe we do have an order for them. Actually, I think the guy that I have the top of both would be the most extreme on both. So should we start with a third?
Yeah, let's start with the third.
Okay, let's just start with the third worst season of 2024. So I'll introduce this one. JP, you can do the next one.
Yep.
So my pick for this one was a guy that his season wasn't that bad. His ranking's still pretty good. Again, like he won a lot of matches. And his statistically compared to his last couple years, they're actually not that different. And the main stat we're looking at is win-loss percentage. But this guy's ranking fell down, and it's more like he didn't achieve what we thought he could achieve this year. So my pick for the third worst season of 2024 is Holger Rune. So I have reasons for that. And I think, JP, my main one, if you want to chime in, is that, you know, we thought Holger Rune was going to kind of make a new top three or big three with Sinner and Alcaraz, especially after Holger won the Paris 2022 Bercy Masters. He didn't have a great 2023 season, like in general. Like it didn't. We had. Let me put it this way: we had this feeling last year that he didn't reach the level, although he was ranked number 4 in the world last year in August. So he did, you know, he was more consistent last year, but now he's dropped back down to 13. The year of 2024 for win-loss was 45 wins, 23 losses, 0 titles. Still took home 2.6 milli in prize money. But yeah, I think that would be a disappointing year for Holger. And he definitely had knee issues. We will say that. So he had a knee issue, injury issue. A lot of these types, people can kind of like hedge their year on that. But yeah, definitely a disappointing year for Holger based on his ability where I think he can be. What do you think, JP?
Yeah, I agree. And he did sort of set himself up for a very good 2024 season by literally saying, he had that quote out there that like he put himself in the big 4 at the end of the 2023 season. Just like, oh, I feel like me, Alcaraz, and Sinner, whoever it was, like we're like the next, you know, top guys or whatever. It's like, okay, like these are the dudes. He wins Paris. We got steam coming into the next year. The other 2 dudes hold their end up of the bet. And then Holger is just like, and I mean, I love it. Like his personality is awesome. His Twitter account, amazing. I love how he carries himself. It's an entertaining way that he does it all. Yeah. And he seems very transparent. I think like as a player, what's going on behind the scenes with him, which I appreciate. And when you do that, it opens you up for more criticism and the high expectations. And unfortunately, I don't think he didn't meet his own expectations, and he did not meet ours. So sorry, Holger.
And you're right about him being transparent. Like he's always been open with the media being on the slice. He was on the slice when I believe he was 16 years old and 18. And we've kind of been with him. We've talked with him ever since he has risen up the rankings. And he's always been big on social media, even before he cracked into the top 100 or, you know, was at the top of the game. So he's always opened himself up to people. And I remember it. And, you know, we joke about this with him next time he was on the show. Like I remember people being like, his forehand is not an ATP level forehand. Like they would like all these like birds chirping, right? Like he's been used to that his whole career. So I don't think it really phases him, but I do think part of the reason you see him like be sometimes like acting up on court, you know, he's gotten that brat label is
Right.
because he's just used to getting into that mindset of like, I'm battling people, I'm battling my opponent, I'm battling the crowd, I don't care. And that's what he has to do to lock in and maybe find his best tennis. And I respect that big time. But yeah, this year was with the injury, with, you know, he still played a lot of matches. So it wasn't like he wasn't playing. It was just like he lost matches. But to be fair, if you go back to his previous years, so if we look at his tour level seasons, his first real tour level season was kind of 2022, where he played 64 matches. He won 62% there. He won 65% of his matches in 2023, and he actually won 66.7, so 1% higher in 2024 as far as a total. But he's always lost kind of a lot of matches. But I think this year was a year where he just didn't win any tour, or he didn't win any titles, and he didn't get those big deeper runs at tournaments where he got a lot more points to get his ranking up. Like obviously 2022 wins Paris Masters. You're like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to be challenging for Grand Slams. In 2023, didn't really happen, but his ranking got to number 4. And then this year his ranking fell off, and he didn't really seemingly challenge for much. Like he made it always midway through a tournament and then would just lose. He never really felt very dangerous this year. And I think that's why we have him on our list, because we know he's a dangerous player, and I think he'll win a major,
Yeah.
or multiple majors. So that's why I put him on this list.
Yeah. It looks like he made, excluding the Olympics, he made 3 quarterfinals this year.
Yeah.
So,
And
I guess that's post Wimbledon. It's the sheet I'm looking at stops in July, but
no, yeah. Well, in 2022, he won 3 titles in 2022. Let's put it that way. He won 1 in 2023 and 0 in 2024. In finals, he was in 2 in 2022, 2 in 2023, and 1 in 2024. And that was like right in the first week of the year in Brisbane. So yeah, definitely a tough year for Holger in 2024. We know he can do better, and that's why he's on our list as the number 3 spot of the worst seasons of 2024.
Ooh, also, I'd like to say I just completely misspoke. I had the wrong player pulled up, so apologies to Holger about the quarterfinals. That was for Tsitsipas.
Okay. Well, that's okay. Is that our next guy on our list there?
He is next, yeah.
All right. What did
So,
you do?
yeah. You want me to do this one?
Yeah.
Got you. I wasn't sure if I was doing the winners or if we were alternating. But
Well, just intro Tsitsipas this year. Remind us of his record, his prize money and stuff. If you have it up. If you don't, I can do it.
yes, sir. I got his record up.
Word.
This year, he went 42-21 compared to last year where he was 50-24. His win percentage went down by almost a full percentage, or a full percent. He did play less matches, obviously, but he had the highlight of his season has to be the Monte Carlo Masters. And then other than that, and that especially in this back half of the season, which is what I was talking about earlier when I was mixing up Rune and him,
Yeah.
he made 3 quarterfinals. He made quarterfinals at Paris, Basel, and then Antwerp. So not the latter half of a season he would hope for. And yeah, kind of break down his season for us, Steven.
Yeah, I mean, Stefanos, the crazy thing about him is how high his expectations were, like 2019, 2020. Like he was, for me, I had him as like, I think he might be the best player of the next 10 years. That was kind of, before Alcaraz and Sinner kind of came on the scene, but I was always been like very up with Stefanos Tsitsipas. And if you look at Tennis Abstract, it shows that his last 4 seasons, his highest win percentage of matches was in 2021. And that was where he won 74% of his matches. He also made the French Open final that year, losing to Djokovic, dramatically after being 2 sets to love up. But it's kind of gone downhill from there.
Yeah.
So his next 2022 he was at 74.7%, so almost 75%. And then he was at 71% in 2022, 67% in 2023, and 66.7% in 2024. So his win percentage has dropped each year for the last 3 years. And yeah, you're just kind of thinking like, does he have to find a new identity in tennis to kind of get back to where he was as far as competitive level. Like he still had a decent year. Like again, if you look at his
Right.
year to date, yeah, he won one title, and that was Monte Carlo. So that's a Masters 1000. But it felt like every time he played Alcaraz, he just can't really compete with him.
Yep.
And his rank is now down to 11, and for in previous years he was like a fixture at the year end championships, right? So like I think in the show, yeah. So in 2018 he was ranked 15 at the end of the year. 2019 6, 2020 6, 2021 4, 2022 4, 2023 6, 2024 11. So boom, drops off. That's not the Stefano Tsitsipas that I feel like we have believed him to be this year.
Right.
So he also left his dad this year. So with his coach, they've kind of finally split. So maybe that's going to be the thing that's going to kind of turn the corner for him and get him back to a level where he can be where he should be, which I believe is in the top 6 of the world, top 5 of the world, challenging for majors. But he has to change something clearly, because whatever he's been doing isn't working. And the kind of you just feel like the rest of the tour and the rest of the world, it's like catching up with him.
Right.
And passing him in some way, which is obviously not a great feeling. So
yeah. I'm looking through his full match list of the season as well, and it kind of looks like after he made the final at Barcelona, he lost that first round of the Madrid Masters to Thiago Monteiro.
Yeah,
and that's sort of where it kind of like he never found that final level again. The highest he ever made it to was a quarterfinal after that. And I thought so. It just kind of seems like, once, what month is that? April hit. It was like he could never find that level back, which is a lot of tennis left to be played after April.
For real, yeah. No, it's he's always had some tough losses. I remember another one was at I believe it was the U.S. Open 2021, I want to say, or 2022. I believe he lost to Carlos Alcaraz in like the second round, and you're just like, that was when Carlos 2021. I think, when was that? I'm gonna look it up.
Because it was some bull crap when they were like, I think even when it was on ESPN, they're like, Tsitsipas upset by a teenager in in the US Open, whatever. And it's like, oh, at face value, you're like, dang, I guess he got upset. And then you realize what exactly happened.
Yeah, looking back, it seems, but it was 2021 when Alcaraz was not at, he won his first major in 2022, Alcaraz. So that in 2022 is really the year when Alcaraz came on. But so Alcaraz was still amazing then. But that was a match where I was just like, Tsitsipas, you gotta find a way to pull out that win. And he didn't. And then I think it's been a bit of a mental thing for him since, in a lot of ways, because Alcaraz has won all 6 of their matches since, or 5 of their matches, 6. He's won all 6 of their matches. And a lot of them have just been like, the one this year was actually pretty close, 3 sets. Scratch that. Yeah, that was 3 sets at Roland Garros, so it wasn't that close. But and they've all been on clay, except for, the last 4 have been on clay, which is Stefanos's favorite surface. But unfortunately, it's probably Carlos's too.
Yeah, he'll be back.
So you think he'll be back? I do think he'll be back. A lot of people in the comments, whenever we're reviewing a match that he just lost or whatever, people saying like he's just not. He's reached his ceiling, and the other guys are just going past it. And I do think someone like Alcaraz does have a bit of a higher ceiling than him, mainly because he's got the two-handed backhand. And I think against guys like Sinner and Alcaraz, the one-handed backhand is tough. I do think that like they're just monsters, right? Like, how are you gonna go out there with one hand on your racket for like half the match and expect to beat a guy like freaking Carlos Alcaraz?
And they just give him so many high balls to the backhand, and it's like you're never gonna be able to get on offense with the one-handed backhand when they just keep hitting these high ones to you. So
they can they can change direction with ease, and it's just like, yeah. Do you think the one-handed backhand's it's not going away, because a lot of great players have it? Obviously, Tsitsipas, Musetti, but Dimitrov. Like, are they going to be winning majors? Dimitrov, are they like? It doesn't really feel like they're going to be winning majors anytime soon with one hand on the racket, which kills me to say, because I love the one-handed backhand.
I know it also just seems like if they were to win a major, it's one of those instances where it's like kind of like a one-time wonder type deal. Like they're playing their hottest tennis for 2 weeks, where they just
and
are not
one of the
making
guys lost
mistakes.
early. They didn't have to beat all three of like Djokovic, Sinner, and Alcaraz or whatever.
Right.
So I do feel like it will be like that. But yeah, anyways, that's a little bit of a depressing moment on the Tsitsipas situation, which is why he's on our list. But he's not the number one on our list. And maybe I'm putting
this one might
this
sting.
guy.
This might sting you.
Yeah, I might be putting this guy at number one because of how much belief I have in him. So if you're watching this, Felix, just know we love you and we believe in you. But 2024 was a rough season for Felix. It was. It was. His career high is number 6 in the world. That was 2022. And he ended the year at rank of 29 in the world. Still made 1.7, so our guy still got paid. But his win-loss record was 32 wins, 25 losses. Like not that far above 500 if you're looking at it. I can tell you exactly what he was. He was at 55% win rate in 2024. Which is just really not, And in 2022, it was 64.8%. So again, he's always lost a decent amount of matches, but this year, and his struggles have been injury, and then a lack of confidence because of injury. And I've talked about this at length. I talked about this on TSN at the US Open last year. And then it's just like a year plus later, we're still in the same situation. So he has fired his manager. He's no longer working with his manager. He has not fired his coaches, though. I believe he stopped working with Tony Nadal. I have not seen Tony Nadal in his camp for a long time. But his main coach, Frederick Fontang, Tony Nadal is still listed on his website. He's a great coach, but sometime you have to make a change. And maybe the change he did make, JP, is that he put a ring on it. Did you see that?
I saw that.
He put a ring on it. He got, I believe her name is Nina, and he got engaged. So he also joins Rude and Popperin with engagement announcements. And you know what, JP? I think this is a great move. Obviously, me and you are both fans of marriage. We're married. But what do Djokovic, Murray, Nadal, and Federer all have in common?
Married.
They're married, or at least we're in long-term stable relationships.
Right.
Like Nadal, he finally put a ring on it, but the main point is you can't be reaching your best. And to be fair, Felix and Rude, they've been in stable relationships for a long time, but I do think there's like a level up when you marry.
And they're young, like they're young guys.
They're young guys. That's fair. Felix is like 22 still, I think. So he's getting married pretty young, which I love it. But he's probably like, I need to lock this in because you're my ride or die. We're locking this in. And potentially that could be the huge factor for him going into 2025, I think.
He needs his rock. He needs that one thing that's always going to be there no matter what. And I feel like a lot of the guys do struggle with it on tour. You need it. It's essential to your mental state and to fortifying your mind.
Absolutely.
So we need a big one from him.
You're like, my wife's going to pull through for me. I think it just sounds way better than my girlfriend or my partner.
You're right.
It's like, that's my wife.
There's ownership. Like you want to be the best version of yourself when you do have like a wife or any like a serious significant other. So
I think that could be a change for him. I think his body needs to get healthy, clearly, and maybe it's a bit of growing pains. Maybe it's a bit of they weren't doing what they in the gym wasn't working out as he could. But I think once he gets back to putting weeks in together, because he did have some moments. He made the final of Madrid this year, which was a super weird tournament where he got like 3 walkovers. I don't know if you remember that one. And then he played well at the Olympics. And I spoke with him right after that in Montreal, and he said his serve felt great in the Olympics. And that was one of the things with his shoulder injury, and part of his back was he couldn't serve as accurately or as well as he wanted. And he said when he's banging his serve, I think he literally said to me, he's like, I feel like I could beat anyone in the world. I was like, my guy, keep talking like that, because it's true. And you need that type of confidence, because it's definitely, you've watched some of his matches and you just look at him, he kind of looks lost out there. And to me, I'm like, yeah, it's it's hard to watch because he has no identity in his game when he's playing like that. But the flip side of that is when he does have the identity of like super downhill playing, attacking, big serving guy, he can beat most players. So I think that's where he's back. He's headed. I predict he has a great 2025, but unfortunately, he's had one of the tougher 2024 seasons on the ATP tour, for sure. I think.
For sure, we're all rooting for Felix. I don't think there's anybody out there that dislikes him. That follows tennis. Like, he just seems like the nicest dude. So absolutely. Felix, pulling for you. Stefanos, pulling for you. Holger, pulling for you. Sal, to the guys that don't need too much support.
That's right.
Because they had amazing years. We will start it out with the French serve bot, Giovanni Pesci Pericard.
Yes.
I mean, I would call it a debut. I would think it's fair to say this was his debut.
Pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much.
And so in 2023, he only played 5 tour level matches. This year, he plays 29. He goes 17-12 with a 58.6 win percentage.
Yeah,
which is incredible for a young dude in his first. And now he finished the season ranked 31.
Yeah.
So, and he's got a lot of buzz coming with him this coming year.
Yeah, and for good reason. He's got, looking at Tennis Abstract here again, his total first serve win percentage in 2024 was 79.7%. So essentially 80% of the points he played on his first serve, he won, which is just crazy. That's on average. So there's matches that was a lot higher and lower, but 80%. Normally I'm saying, like, if you win 70% of your serves, like, you're probably going to win that match on the ATP Tour. So he's winning 80% of his serves. And then, to be fair, only winning like just north of 50% of his matches. So clearly he's the definition of a serve bot, but the rest of his game, he comes forward, he plays volleys. He's an athlete, clearly. Like, people talk about, like, if LeBron James played tennis, what would it look like? I think he's about as close as it would look. I think he's 6'6", 6'7". Yeah. He's about, how tall is LeBron? 6'10" or 6'8"?
Yeah, LeBron's like 6'8", 6'9", 260, 250.
Yeah, so Giovanni's like pretty close, and yeah, just a beast. Do they have their weight on here? I don't.
That's what I was looking. I see.
Oh, they do. Yeah, so they got Giovanni. I would say it's pretty close, because if LeBron was playing tennis, he'd want to trim it down for sure. Right. So Giovanni Pesci Pericard is 6'8" and 216 pounds, and he is tough.
Man,
is that essentially LeBron on a tennis court? I don't know.
Unfortunately, I think there will be a LeBron on tennis court at some point, and I think when we see him, he might look like even more of a freak than Pericard, just because LeBron. I mean, LeBron is was one of the fastest dudes in the NBA for the longest time.
Yeah,
and Pericard, it's like he can move around really well.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call him like he's not moving around like Demonar, where I feel like a LeBron type is.
Fair enough. I think definitely LeBron, as far as like a raw athlete, is more of a freak for sure than especially Pericard. Like, that's true. Like, you don't see these like kind of like NBA style guys who just seem like they were born like that. They didn't even like work to get that ripped. They
and I think they're coming, because a lot of these NBA players, when I follow them on their pages, like, they get their kids into tennis, and we could be seeing a freak of nature coming along in the next 10 years by one of these NBA guys that puts their kid in it, which would be really fun, because it's like we always bring up these NBA guys when it comes to any sport. Yeah. What would it be like if they played soccer, if they played tennis, if they played whatever? It's like, yeah, we would love to see it.
But I think Pesci Pericard is like as close as we have currently, or as close as I've seen, because he's Definitely. He's 6'8". There's a lot of guys who are like 6'8", but they're like skinny and like they're really not, like that. But like he's strong for 6'8", and he's thick, and yeah, he can move pretty well for being 6'8", compared to some of the other guys we've seen. So yeah, he's had a crazy, like, you're right, second season on tour. He made 1.3 milli.
Come on.
So that is nice for him. His year before that, he made 300,000. So yeah, that's a big difference. Just an extra million on there.
Yeah.
So he's on a trajectory. He's at age 21. He was born, guess when, JP? Do the
Oh
math.
no. Your same
2000
birthday as you?
2003. No, I'm just saying. But
Oh
that guy's born in 2003, and he would snap me in half like a toothpick. So that's pretty scary.
man, and like this year, he was grinding a lot of these tournaments through qualies.
Yeah.
So now he's going to get, obviously with his ranking, he's going to be in the main draws. Like at Wimbledon, he won, let's see, one, two, three, four, like 7 matches and made it to the round of 16. So it's like no telling what a fresh Perry card is going to do in some of these main draws.
Yeah, for real. It'll essentially be his first full season as like a full ATP guy next year. Because he was, I believe at the beginning of this year, he was playing a lot of challengers and stuff like that still. So yeah.
The next person, I kind of briefly mentioned him when I was making all the comparisons. Who we got next, Steven?
Alex de Minaur. And yeah, he was a guy who had a great season, made the ATP finals for the first time. He was a debutant on the ATP finals, and he did it all with an injury this year. So he wasn't even able to play to his full extent. At Wimbledon, he injured himself. So Alex de Minaur is our second best season as far as improvement in 2024. JP, do you have his stats up in front of you?
I do. He had a 68.6 win percentage, which was his highest of his career.
Very high.
He was 48-22, 48 matches won, ties his record as well. He won 48 matches last year, but he lost 26. So this was a big, I'm trying to pull up his full results. Obviously, he was cut short in some of these runs with an injury. He could have been holding the major potentially had he not been hurt. But de Minaur, man, he's one of my favorite players. And shout out to his junior tour in Australia that he launched this year.
Oh yeah.
He launched a junior tour where I guess he's probably like one of the main people funding it, but these kids are going to he's giving himself like to the kids for however many days of the year. He'll offer them some coaching. They all get to meet him. They get to hit with them. And, the team he's put in place to kind of pour into the junior tennis in Australia, which is cool from a young guy. And he truly does. Like if I could hang out with somebody on tour, he would be on that top list of guys I would want to hang out with.
Word. Don't tell Pavi G that. That'll Pavi G would have it out for Alex de Minaur after his comments on Djokovic a few years ago. Pavi G would not have let that go.
Yeah, Pavi G definitely probably not somebody that forgives very easily. But yeah, fair, man.
I think so. Yeah. So de Minaur, great year. He won 2 titles. He won Hertogenbosch and Acapulco. Hertogenbosch was on the grass. So next year at Wimbledon, I like his. I don't even know where he is in that Betway odds list for Wimbledon, but he plays really well on the grass and likes the surface. And yeah, I'm just trying to go back to where he played at Wimbledon. He lost in the first round of Queens to Musetti, but I think Musetti went on to lose in the final to Tommy Paul, if I'm remembering off the top of my head. But yeah, de Minaur made the quarterfinals of Wimbledon, but had to pull out because of injury. So yeah, he's going to be a good grass court player going forward, I think, just with the way he can move on that surface. So yeah, great. And then he made the quarterfinals of the U.S. Open as well. So 2 quarterfinals in a row there. 3 quarterfinals in a row after making the Grand Slam or making the Roland Garros quarterfinals. And if we go back to the Australian Open, what did he do?
He was round of 16, lost to Rublev, which with how the season ended, you would not expect that happened.
No, for sure. He got 6-3, 6-0 in the last 2 sets of the Australian Opens against Rublev. So that wasn't good. But then he lost in the final of Rotterdam to Sinner. Can't blame him there. And then he won in Acapulco 500 there. So that's great year for Alex de Minaur, JP.
Yeah, only had 1 tournament that he didn't win a match at. Other than that, he at least won 1. So
yeah, only 1 first match exit. You love to
Now,
see it.
our final man. I don't think anybody could guess this one.
I don't think they could. I think it would be really hard and really impressive if anyone guessed who our number one season of 2024 was.
Like, they might not even actually know his name.
That's a good point. If they were under 3 years of age, they wouldn't know his name probably.
Right.
Actually, let's reduce that. Maybe if they were under 1 year of age, like Shepard, for example, doesn't know his name.
If they are under the year that his rank is, they do not know his name.
That's correct.
This guy that we're talking about is ranked number 1 in the world, the year-end number 1.
Number uno,
the Italian stallion, Yannick Sinner, not to be confused with our friend of the show, Yannick Dinner. Don't disrespect Double XL Tennis in the comments. Y'all need to start being nice. But Yannick Sinner, top player of the year. And honestly, I feel like we don't even need to dive into him that much because everybody kind of knows what he did. But in case you want the stats, Steven, you want to give him the stat?
I
win-loss, I have it right here.
You run through the stats and I'll get into the tennis abstract.
He played 81 matches. He only lost 7 of them. If you can do the math, he was 74-7. His win percentage was 91.4%. That is absurd. And what was the stat we saw with his season compared to like Federer and all the people?
It was essentially the second highest, I believe, win percentage of all time.
Of all time, 91.4, and
that was behind 2 seasons of Federer. So it actually was the third highest.
Got you. To compare it to his 2023, he went 66-18 last year with a 78.6% win percentage. So obviously huge jump, but I love the set win losses. He only lost 34 sets this year and he won 176, which is crazy.
I do believe that you said on Tennis Abstract they have 7 losses, but then this is important because it's a small number. But on the ATP Tour officially, they only have him at 6 losses, so 73-6.
Oh, I wonder. This probably includes the Olympics or something, maybe. Or?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that would include. So that's interesting. So I don't want to out Tennis Abstract here, but I believe he only lost 6 matches, and 3 of them were to Alcaraz,
which is crazy.
To add to the stats, 2 failed doping tests. We're like going through the numbers. It's like
2-day suspension.
2-day suspension, 3 press tours to quell any worries about doping. No, but obviously a crazy year for Sinner. Crazy year as far as his best season on tour. He did have the failed test. Didn't mean he was doping, but it did mean that there was something in his system. As I would like to point out. So to me, there's 0 asterisks at all beside anything that he did this year. And it was, truly one of the great performances, especially when he just put it to hard court. Like it might've been, it was the most dominant hard court season since Federer in 2006, I believe. It was, to me, it was like a bit of a sleeper because we talked about it before. Like he won the Australian Open, he won Rotterdam, he won Miami, and you were like, okay, this is an amazing year so far. But Alcaraz hadn't really gotten going yet. Djokovic hadn't gotten going yet. And then during the middle part of that season, he didn't have the same results, but then he just ran the table essentially from Cincinnati through the rest of the year. And you're like, damn. And that's when Alcaraz and Djokovic were both playing better. And he was like, yeah, I'm the number 1 dog. And that was a huge improvement from the year before. So if we look at, like you said, the Tennis Abstract, his win percentage this year, according to them, was 91.4%. That's up like 13% from 2023, where his win percentage was 78%. And his year before that, in 2022, his win percentage was 73. So he's had a better win percentage every year he's been on tour. You'll love to see that.
Good luck topping this one.
Yeah, good luck topping that one. Which one are you talking about?
His current one, the 91%.
Oh, yeah, for real. The 6 losses, 7 on Tennis Abstract. That's going to be tough for him to beat. I would almost like bet that he won't have that record again.
Yeah, where's this line? We need this line ASAP.
Where's this line? Because like it's not like he can't have that good of a year again. I think he could win 2 majors. I think he could stay as number 1, but it's hard to only lose 6 matches. Like, that is really hard.
He didn't lose his first match until the Indian Wells semifinal when Alcaraz beat him.
Yeah. So, and essentially, like, Alcaraz is the only guy that beat him, obviously consistently this year. But
you know who the other guy is that had the win over him?
Well, wasn't there a few guys?
A few, but one of the guys that was on our other list, and he didn't really even play him. It was a walkover, but a win's a win. Felix,
that's true. I don't think that counts as one of his losses though. On the season, how do you look up? I want to go. You'd have to just look through all his activity on the year.
Yeah, because the way they have it written out is Felix and then defeated Sinner.
Yeah, they do have that written there, and it like shows up on the record, but I don't believe it shows up on like the number of losses he has.
Yeah, it should not show up on the number of losses. If it does, they should fix that. But let's see who he did lose to. Oh, Medvedev.
Yeah, that's right. He lost to Medvedev at Wimbledon. He lost
Rublev
to Alcaraz at Beijing in the final of Beijing. Where was Rublev?
Canada.
Right, he lost there in Canada. That was probably his worst match of 2020.
And I think those are the only 3 people.
So Medvedev, Rublev, and no, because he lost to Alcaraz in Beijing. Yeah. And then who else did he lose to? And then
Tsitsipas.
And then yes, it was Tsitsipas in Monte Carlo, which was controversial because it was like a really bad call there, which could have made it go in a crazy way. So he lost to Tsitsipas once, Rublev once, Medvedev once, and Alcaraz 3 times. It's pretty good, man. It's pretty freaking good.
Pretty good. I think it's good. Do you have any more notes on him?
Well, I want to hear what you're going to say. So hold that. I was just going to say, I think in tennis, you kind of become a stat lover because so much of the sport is stats. It's kind of like a mix of baseball and maybe something else where you're like stat heavy, clean slate next year, right? If you're taking a look at it by seasons, 2025, like how is Sinner going to do right off the jump? He's going to be the man to beat right away because it's hard court season right away in Australia. And those are like perfect conditions for him. Right. His coach, Darren Cahill's from Australia. We'll see. He's had the whole offseason to do anything, medically that he wants to do without getting tested. I'm just kidding. New
rules loading.
It's going to be interesting to see like new stats. Is he going to be able to carry on this kind of level of winning? Which I don't know if he will, but also wouldn't be surprised me at the level he's played at. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, I didn't have anything on him. I was just going to say it's important to end the show on a high note, singing some praises. And that's what we just did with Jannik Sinner. Congratulations, Jannik Sinner. I'm excited to see this episode this time next year to see what new player that we might not have even heard of right now that comes up and makes one of these and makes our overperforming list for next year.
You could, and it could be one we've never heard of, and that's gonna be super interesting. It'll be like, oh, maybe they're just like by that time they're like a household name, or it could be honestly like Djokovic. It could be like he has a revival in 2025 with Andy Murray on his side, and he becomes the #1 player in the world again, the oldest #1 ever. He wins a few majors, and you go comparing from 2024 to 2025, he makes our list. So we don't know what the future holds. That's why you have to play the game, as they say.
The only thing we know about the future is that we will be back next week, most likely. We have some fun little prompts lined up for the listeners. Right. Some random things I've been seeing on the internet, some questions I need to ask Steven. I need to get his answers on. I need to know who he would choose in a life or death tennis match to play for his life.
I got to think about that. It's major stakes now that I'm a father.
Right.
So I can't be taking someone I want to take. I got to be taking who is the most on lock. What surface, what player. I think you kind of can tell where I'm probably going.
Yeah, I can probably tell you might want to switch your answer by the time we get to this part. But that's for next week.
That is for next week.
This week. Thank you for listening to The Slice. Make sure to subscribe. We have about how many days? 20 days, 21 days till
That's right.
the new year. We need to get to 20K subscribers, 20K for 2K 25. So please subscribe. Please leave a comment. Please tell your friends about it.
Yep.
And that's all from me. Steven, you good?
We're good. Thank you guys for being here. This has been the Slice Tennis Podcast, and we will see you next time on the show.